Come along, rise and shine. Come along and rise and shine. Come on and shine. Come along and ride on a light worker Johnny. Light worker Johnny. Yeah. Come along and ride on a light worker Johnny. Yeah.
Hello, dear.
Hello, beautiful.
How are you?
Wonderful. How are you? Great to see you.
It's great to see you too. We've got a few people coming in, so I'm going to just introduce you real quick if that's okay, love.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome. So joining us today, and I'm so excited for this, is Adora Winquist. And Adora's business or mantra, we'll just say, is your soul work is your soul, S-O-L-E work. And that definitely aligns with everything we're about here, right? Because that's what this is all about, is what is your soul's work and what is your soul's purpose. Adora is a visionary in the nascent field of quantum alchemy. I want to read this because I want to get this right. Quantum alchemy, an evolutionary transformative path for self-mastery, which facilitates healing at the DNA level using an amalgamation of plant and vibrational modalities. And she's also the co-author of an upcoming book that we're going to talk about, Detox, Nourish, and Activate, Plant and Vibrational Medicine for Energy, Mood, and Love. It's a revolutionary guide to healing at the DNA level for self-mastery. And it's going to be available in through a UK publisher, Aeon Books. That is a very wordy way. Why don't you tell folks what it is, who is Adora Winquist, and what's your soul purpose here? What's your soul work?
Thank you, Lisa. Well, first of all, it is such a pleasure to be here with you and everyone for this lovely conversation. From a soul perspective, my soul work is really to anchor and to activate and actualize the spark of divinity and sovereignty that exists within all of us. And so my relatively new platform, the Adora Winquist lifestyle brand, is a way for people to engage in what I like to call a quantum community. Where we're all dedicated to living a life of thriving in all forms and facets of life. And so from that perspective, there's so many different ways to be able to articulate my soul work, but it's really about embodying this vibration of divine love and to be able to work with the plants, specifically essential oils, which are my forte, and the aspects of frequency and how frequency can be embedded in an essential oil formula to not only smell good or help us feel good, but to help us to open to the higher truths of who we are and what's possible in creating a life beyond limitation. And I believe that we're in this really unique juncture of time and space to be able to truly quantum shift. And any places of limitation or adversity, because we've all experienced that to some degree, we have the opportunity to be able to transform and transmute them to places of empowerment and wisdom and light. So we can not only heal ourselves, but become that light to illuminate the path for others too that are seekers and looking to find their way to freedom.
That is that's absolutely amazing and completely transformative and revolutionary. We talk a lot about on this channel, on this Instagram, and in the Whole Heart of Inspiration brand about living this quantum life, about changing your third dimensional reality, because that is temporal and it's all just kind of fake, right? In a real sense, it's fake. Yeah. And breaking free from the matrix, and looking for new ways and innovative ways of taking what we've already been given and then utilizing it to accomplish that. I commend you and I applaud you and thank you so much for doing this work. It's just absolutely tremendous.
Well, thank you, and likewise back at you, holding a mirror reflection for you and all of the brilliant light that you bring to your community and the world as a whole.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's get into the gets here. This concept of 5D conscious creation. Let's start out by talking about how we actually curate and co-create this incarnation, this 3D incarnation, our reality here beyond limitation. What's your stance on that? How are we doing that co-creation?
Sure. So the way that I look at this, and you'll find this throughout my new book that that you so sweetly mentioned, is that I believe that we have come here all with a unique purpose and a gift, and that each step of our path and our journey in our life has brought us perfectly here to this moment. And in this moment, we have the power to not only harness the strength of the present moment, the power of our positive intention, and then the co-creative aspects of the natural world, but specifically essential oils and other plants and other vibrational aspects, to be able to look deeply within. And so one thing that that I talk often about in the book, in the early chapters, is our childhood treasure map. So we all have this very unique treasure map, right, of all of our early childhood dynamics that get imprinted at a cellular level, at an emotional level, at a mental level, that we have come into this life to heal and transform and transmute, right? And so a lot of people say, well, what does that mean for past lives? Well, even from a past life perspective, anything that is unresolved traumatically or emotionally from a past life experience is still rooted in our early childhood dynamics. So we have a super clear map system to say, okay, well, you know, I can look at the patterning from my parents and what I learned from them, and the places where it's created patterning of distortion within me, right? And so we all have those places of like, wow, why do I keep finding a lower amount of money in my bank account that I really think that I want? Why does this same pattern continue to show up in my relationships where there's betrayal, or I'm not allowed to feel like I can really express who I am? Why do I feel like in my career, in my day-to-day profession, that I'm always doing something for someone else and I'm paying a price, whether that price is emotional or physical or financial? So when we look at the patterns that we carry that we haven't yet been able to bring the light of consciousness to, we can often see those in our early childhood dynamics. And it gives us the opportunity to bring our focus, to bring the light of divine consciousness, and to bring these psychodynamic skills of deeper understanding to see what's happening at the subconscious level. And that's where we can bring in the aspects of alchemy. That's where we can use the essential oils or the meditation or the crystal or flower essences to excavate what we carry at the soul level, right? And that's really how we're able to clear the layers to find our inner light and our essence and all of those unique gifts that we have that only we can bring to the world. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It's interesting because when I think of alchemy now in an elevated or an awakened state, if you will, as we are transitioning to a 5D crystalline grid reality, alchemy for me then also becomes, it always has been, really based in our mind consciousness, or now our fifth dimensional or our true mind consciousness. And when you speak of utilizing the oils, I think of like the temperance card in the tarot, right? We're taking a little bit of this earthly and then a lot of this passion, and we have our toes dipped in the water, and we're mixing them together in order to have a brand new outcome.
I love it.
So when we're using these oils, and we're going to talk about your elixirs because they're groundbreaking. The
Thank you.
nanoparticles in your elixirs, allowing us to be able to ingest oils and actually have it reach our cellular membranes, our very essence, cellularly, very quickly, I think is absolutely groundbreaking. So as we're using these oils and with these nanoparticles and these elixirs, how do you find that is assisting us as we're transitioning out of polarity? Because
Mm,
really, if we know what's happening, right, the geomagnetic field is even changing. So
yeah.
we're transitioning out of 3D into 5D. Is this going to help us change our polarity and change our electromagnetic field?
I love that. I love that. So, so this new collection is tremendously innovative, and that is one of like the core aspects I think of my passion about working with essential oils, of staying really in that groundbreaking territory and doing something that hasn't been done before. And so when I think about this and these elixirs, which I'm excited because we are going to do a set of these to
Yes.
someone, right, as
Yes.
a raffle, and that's really exciting. But I think that these are for topical use, which is wonderful. They're not for ingesting per se. However, the most potent way that they work is through inhalation.
Mm.
And this is where they really become a quantum form of plant medicine. Because when we inhale the essential oil, and in particular the right essential oils, and when we're inhaling them, because of the power of the connection to the sense of smell and the brain,
Mm-hmm.
specifically the limbic center and the amygdala, which regulates so much of our physiology, mood,
Mm-hmm.
memory, emotion,
Mm-hmm.
we can not only shift how we feel in the moment, but we can open and elevate our experience of consciousness and
Mm.
who we are in relationship to the world and the universe around us. Now, these formulas, which are nanoparticle essential oil formulas, which hasn't been done before,
Mm-hmm.
and then nanoparticle CBD, and then gem and flower essences at homeopathic potencies, which are incredibly high vibrational. So
Mm.
their frequency when you're inhaling it is one of the first aspects that you're going to experience, because your energy fields are going to open, right? That electromagnetic, the auric fields begin to open to receive not only the biochemical aspects of the plant medicine, but the vibration, right? The quintessence. And so
Mm.
this really becomes a tool not only to enhance how we feel and to have something at our fingertips to empower us, and empower our response to stress and our
Mm-hmm.
emotional resilience,
Mm-hmm.
but also to become a stepping stone, because the more that you use them and create these healthy habit patterns of
Mm-hmm.
using the essential oils specifically via inhalation, the more you can shift the trajectory of your emotional response. So think of what a game changer that is in terms of emotional resilience and empowerment, right?
Oh my
And
God.
then the better that you feel in each moment, the more that creates a bridge to allow the highest expression of who you are to surface in the world, in your relationship with yourself and your relationship to everyone and everything around you. And that's how it really affects us, not just at the cellular level. And also to point out that the lipophilic nature of essential oils, that they're
Mm-hmm.
lipid soluble,
Mm-hmm.
allows them to pass through the blood brain barrier. And these at a nanoparticle level, which even smaller particles, allow that potency and that benevolent effect to expand as well. So then that medicine is not only offering its full gamut of phytonutrients to the brain, but also to the blood, and then through the blood to all of the systems and organs and glands of the body. And so
Right.
I really see this as a revolutionary medicine from the natural world and truly the medicine of the future.
Well, yeah. So there's a few topics we were going to discuss, but I think I'd like to stay here for a moment because it all kind of wraps together. So for me, when I think of creation on a 5D level, a conscious creation, we speak of our emotions honestly being the way things are created, right? The problem with The Secret, it was great when it all came out and it's fabulous. It opened a door. And I'm not going to say anything negative about anybody else, right? It's great. However, we're at a whole new level, okay? We're walking through portals, stargates, we really have, if we're aware of it, we're really living fifth dimensionally and third dimensionally simultaneously as our third dimensional being catches up. So to me, when I hear this, what then happens is that the more, because we talk about this a lot, the more you can control, concentrate, and be intentional with your emotional energy, the faster you will see. In other words, you will live quantumly. You will consciously create your new realm. Why? Because your emotional electromagnetic field that's been generated from your heart then tells your brain and tells your body you have no choice but to create this. I look at this as if this is like, a lot of times we use like ayahuasca and some other, right, things like this. This seems to me to be a very safe way to regulate your energy, elevate your energy. And when you're talking, I literally see those DNA codes and the DNA that has been dormant that we work so hard for and we meditate all the time. And we, how do we get this to express itself? Well, this allows our being to express literally the codes as they're being unlocked. What do you think about that?
I love it. I mean, you totally get it. And I love that you're so intuitive, right? And you have that inner vision to be able to see it, because that's exactly the process of creation and expansion unfolding simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And so if you think about this, like, you are the artist and creator of your life, right? And so I love to envision, although I've never sculpted, I think I've always longed to in some way. And I often think of our emotions as one of the primary sculpting agents or aspects of the clay of our creation, right? Mm-hmm. And all of the longings that we have at the soul level to bring into actualization in this life. And so, that's really why your soul work is your soul work, right? Mm-hmm. Because ultimately that is the path of least resistance. And when you are aligned with the authenticity and the light within your soul and your spirit, your path illuminates, doors open. And then the process of awakening and transformation becomes a primary, like, what was it in the Matrix when they took, is it the red pill or
the red pill?
The red pill, right? Like, you can't go back. You can't go back after you take it. And even in moments where the journey becomes difficult and you feel like you want to go back, you would never make that choice consciously, right? Because freedom becomes the only way forward. Mm-hmm. And so from an emotional perspective, all of the patterning that we've carried and all of the unresolved emotion and trauma at the emotional level, at the mental level, at the cellular level, has to be cleared and lifted and opened for the truth and essence of your soul to live and breathe and create form and structure, and then worlds and realities for the form and structure to evolve and to perpetuate. And so, there's so many thought philosophies like, well, if I can just think differently, and then I'm going to change that pattern of dysfunction in my life. I'm just really going to be clear about that. But the truth is that the energy is held at the cellular level. right?
Yes.
It's held at the level of the DNA. And so until we can clear it from there, it continues to magnetize experiences, right? And
Yes.
then if we stay in a lower vibration or victim consciousness, then it's always someone else's fault and never our own.
Right.
And
Right.
so, but ultimately, the path of sovereignty, of freedom is self-reliance, self-responsibility for our creations, which means it
Mm-hmm.
always comes back to the heart. It always comes back to the soul. And these
Mm-hmm.
are not only our portals of creation, but also our inner GPS, right? When we can open the pathways of communication to be able to hear that inner wise one within us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, you're talking then, the conscious thought of, I no longer wish to be in toxic relationships, right? You're doing all the surface work.
Yeah.
Let's chat a little bit about the importance of transmuting, transforming on a subconscious level,
Yeah.
how we're thinking and how we're reacting and interacting with the world.
Well, that is so brilliant. And, I say that, and so much of the stories that I've shared in the book, in my new book, are from my personal experience and come from
Mm-hmm.
places of vulnerability, because I feel like it's a really important place to establish connectivity and common ground. And that, we've all experienced some level of a toxic relationship, right? And so we can end that toxic relationship and say, you know what, I'm never going to do that again. My new relationship's going to be happy and harmonious. And then we get into it, and it feels really great for a while, and then those same patterns show up. And
Yep.
that's why, coming back to that treasure map, right, that from our early childhood family constellations, and saying, okay, where does this pattern come from? Right?
Mm.
Where did I see this modeled in my early environment? Was it from my mother? Was it from my father? Because when we talk about the DNA, and remember, the DNA is encoded in each of our trillions of cells, right? It is information, it is intelligence, it is
Mm-hmm.
filled with the infinite potential for this life. It is
Mm-hmm.
also filled with the patterning from our lineage that we've come into this life to transform. Right. And so if you think about it, right, our DNA embedded with every experience we've ever had, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, since the moment of conception. If
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't enough of a miracle, the same applies within our DNA from our mother's experience and our father's experience, and their mothers and their fathers. And so all of that is held within us, right? So we are these incredible walking miracles that have the power to be able to harness our life force, our intention, and our alchemical aspects from the natural world to go into the DNA and look at what's held in our mother bloodline and our father bloodline. And then, of course, again, we come back to that early childhood treasure map, and it's all held there. So until we can see where those patterns arose in our family of origin and through our DNA, through our generations, what's been passed down, and can come into the place of healing and understanding, right? So, I mean, what is the purpose of us carrying the pain of the past if we don't have the potential to transform it, to release it, and to heal it, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so, yeah. And so from that perspective, we're never free until we can transmute that which is carried within us, within our DNA, because we're designed to do that. That's how we evolve, right?
Mm-hmm.
The race of humanity, one race, unified. We're
Mm-hmm.
all here to evolve and work through our own healing spiral. And
Mm-hmm.
when we're able to bring the healing to these parts and patterns that have been carried within us, we receive the expansion at the soul level, right? The wisdom, the trauma is opened, the wisdom, the life force is set free. And
Yes.
we expand, and we're able to embody a higher level of light and understanding. And
Yes.
and then that changes our whole world and everyone around us. And
Yes.
then when those soul lessons are assimilated, then they get imprinted upon our soul family, right? And then there's further evolution, and then to the web of humanity, which elevates the consciousness of all of us, right? And
Yes.
so, I think there is this really interesting theory called the 100th monkey phenomenon. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
I always find it really interesting. I think I remember learning about this when I was in school at Barbara Brennan, but that essentially when the 100th monkey of a particular species learns a new skill, after 100 of these monkeys learn this new skill, then that is spread through the consciousness of the entire species. Right. And I think this is a
Wow.
beautiful representation of the potential that exists within us for healing, for transformation, and for coming to a greater understanding of who we are, how expansive, how powerful, and how deeply connected we are.
Yes. And we have to, I've been studying some of the Egyptian spiritual wisdom and technology. I'll put it like that. And so there is the concept within that spirituality, those spirituality practices, that there is no good nor bad, that darkness is merely a denser light. So when you said, when we take this energy and we transmute it and we release this pain and we release this trauma, then we are actually, as we're setting it free, we're actually taking this very concentrated, dense light that's looking to be set free because it wants to just vibrate at a higher level. But we're taking this density and we're releasing it, and we're allowing it to then truly transform or transmute into what it was originally meant to be.
Precisely. That's so well put, love.
That is just, that's so beautiful. And my mind, I'm sorry, so I have a biochemistry mind. Some of you guys that watch me know that. I studied biochemistry at Northwestern University. So for me, everything just comes all the way back. And then I'm thinking about these nanoparticles getting into the water, right, of our body, because our body is 95% water. Interestingly enough, 95% of our thoughts are on the subconscious level.
So true. Right. And so our thoughts, I mean, we can look at this from both perspectives, and this is where I love to bring in the infinite perspective of healing and the sacred geometric form of the infinity symbol, right? So our feelings, right? We have our feelings. Our feelings influence our thoughts in both regards, right? And then, of course, our brain chemistry and our belief system, which further influences our thoughts and emotions. And so it's this incredible circuit. And that's why our feelings and our thoughts and our beliefs are so powerful, right?
Yes.
And that affect our neurochemistry. And
Yes.
that affect our experience of life every single day. And sometimes we get stuck in patterns that are dysfunctional and distorted, and we don't even realize it because we become complacent and we begin to think that, well, I guess this is all there is to life, right? And that's the challenge of that third dimensional construct, right? And also the gift of discernment that comes from polarity of darkness and light.
True.
Right? Because without one experience, how could we know that its counterpart could be so powerful in whichever regard, right? That we do.
Yes, that's absolutely beautiful. Let's talk about, because we talked a lot about the essential oils, the nanotechnology. How do you feel that this alchemy operates, or how does it work when we're repatterning our brain, and then we also repattern our emotional response? So how does this alchemy really work for us on that level?
So this is great. And we can repattern and reignite and repair our DNA through this process too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and this is how healing becomes holographic. And so when we're looking at an essential oil and we're looking at the nervous system, right? Because we can use the nervous system as part of our map and also our portal or pathway for quantum healing. And so when we're inhaling essential oil, like the one I did a few minutes ago is the mood elixir, which is my go-to. So we're receiving the biochemical effect of the essential oils via inhalation, that it means to feed the brain and the blood and the systems and the organs. And because the essential oils are so malleable to vibration and intention, this is where affirmation and intention become another sphere of synergy, right, for this process of repatterning. And because there's been studies that have been done, in particular, I was reading one that was done a number of years ago in Russia that talks about the DNA and how malleable it is to intention, to affirmation. And of course, we know that from the cellular perspective, not only vibrationally, but biochemically, the essential oils are penetrating and permeating our cellular level, our cellular consciousness. And that's where this aspect of plant medicine, in the most potent form, right, the essential oils, is able to repattern through aroma, through inhalation, through intention, through affirmation, right, which is a way that we are communing and communicating with ourselves, with our DNA, with our every layer of our field holographically, right? Whether it's our emotional body, our mental body, our spiritual body, everything connected, everything opening to receive the power and the potency of our intention and our co-creative abilities.
Yes. So I'm interested also in as you know, our heart, physical heart, has its own kind of set of neurons. It has its own brain. And that's where belief is generated. Can you, and I don't know if you've thought about this, but can you tell me how do you feel this is going to affect our heart cells and that level of thought, of belief thought?
I love that. Well, one thing that I've been really engaged in the past couple of years is connecting into the 0 point field of limitless creative potential through the heart space, through this incredible energy center vortex. It's an organ too, right? One of the primary of our physicality and our circulation and so many other aspects of life. But to be able to come into communion, into the heart space, which means what? Which means to be able to really deeply access that, to be open to receive, whether it's love, whether it's other forms of creation or co-creation. That's part of peeling away and letting go of the layers of loss and heartache and betrayal, of anything that keeps our heart closed. But when we're able to open and really come into the center for the 0 point field and plant our intentions there, it changes every single molecule in our body. It enhances our emotional resilience. It shifts our awareness. It becomes not only the seat of ourselves, the bridge for the highest expressions of who we are, as well as our very primordial nature, right? All connecting and interweaving into this powerful place of love. And I think that that is truly one of our inner callings right now, to come back into the heart space and to be able to reconfigure not only our biology, but our ability to give and receive love, our ability to experience gratitude and forgiveness and self-compassion and self-acceptance, and that becomes the true terrain for everything, every seed that we want to plant, right, and bring to fruition and flourishing.
Yes, definitely. Most definitely. I want us to talk about being open to receiving. Interestingly enough, how can we receive even from our highest self? I don't think we receive our own love and our own consciousness from our higher self. But you start wherever you want. But let's talk about being very open to receive.
Thank you. I think that this is one of the missing aspects to the formula of esoteric philosophy and effortless creation, effortless intention. Because let me bring you back to a story. When I was in, I think maybe my second year at Barbara Brennan, I was really struggling financially. And so I was working with we call it a BIP, a Brennan integration practitioner. And she would say, well, Adora, I don't understand. Like, why are you having, financial issues or issues with abundance? There's so much abundance here. It's all around you. I can see it. I can feel it. I can taste it. And I said, well, that might be well and good, but I'm not seeing it, feeling it, and tasting it in my current experience of life. And so this process of understanding and excavation has been such a powerful teacher for me, because what I realized was I wasn't open. My heart wasn't open, even though I believed it to be. My being wasn't open because I didn't feel like I was worthy enough. I didn't feel like I was good enough to have all of these grand experiences of life, of love, of abundance. And so I really had to go back, and this is where we go into the early childhood treasure map and look at the patterns that had been carried generationally around self-worth, around abundance, around working hard but having very, very little. And so it became a process of really opening from here and doing the work that is so crucial for us to be able to fully receive. I was thinking about this morning because I was preparing for meditation. And so I was thinking about flowers, right? In my new book, the Detox Nourish Activate is so key in terms of sustainable shifts of transformation and consciousness. Because first, of course, like imagine if we're planting a garden of flowers, we have to till the soil. We have to remove the weeds. We have to prepare the soil with nutrients, right? Then we have to, when we plant the seeds, nourish it with all of the sunlight, the fertilizer and the water, so that the seeds can grow and our plants can emerge. Well, even though the plants are emerging, imagine you have a garden of flowers. It's not until the flowers open that they're able to fully engage with life and all of the elements around, right? They're not able to share their brilliant aroma, their beautiful aroma. They're not able to engage with the bees or the hummingbirds, right? To come and share in their nectar or pollination. They're not able to show the exquisite beauty and sacred geometry of their formation until they're fully open. And so the same applies for us. Until we're fully open, how can we not only receive but engage with ourselves, with other relationships, with the world around us? How can we show the brilliance and the beauty of our souls and our spirits and our psyches until we're fully open? How can we understand that we are the glory of the divine that we are searching for outside of ourselves, that inner universe is right here?
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. It's so true. It is so true. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've noticed it over the course of my lifetime. I used to have a very difficult time accepting compliments. I still think I do to some degree. Or accepting gifts, right? I love to give. Love, you know? But it's so like, oh my gosh, to receive it is like, difficult, but I notice that the more I'm open to just receiving what the world has to offer, what the universe has to offer, what the higher dimensions have to offer, and receiving in just this type of exchange, just a human exchange, just to have it, right, has
Yeah,
just opened up so much.
I love that, Lisa.
It's opened up doors that can never be closed again,
Mm.
because I'm open to just like the wonderment. And it does feel like I'm a little kid again, all over at 53. It's like I'm this like, or at least a teenager that's just so inquisitive and ready to learn about everything and just, this is all great, you know? Like life is just exciting and it's rebuilding every moment of every day. Um,
That's so
that's
beautiful.
that's what we want everyone to experience, isn't it? Like this idea of you get to choose your own adventure. I don't know how many people, I don't know if people still read those books
Yeah.
as, I don't know. But it's just wonderful that really life in the quantum, in the 5D, in the conscious creation, you
Yeah.
get to choose your own adventure.
I love that. As you started talking, I started thinking about those books because I loved them when I was a child. The one where you could pick
Yeah.
your own
Yes.
ending and, all the different pathways. And it
Yes.
is so true because we do get to choose. And, part of the life experience and the journey is remembering that and the
Yes.
unlearning to remember. Because all of this ancient wisdom is encoded within us at the DNA level. And
Mm-hmm.
so these beautiful journeys that we have of life and breath and sharing communion and conversation like this that is able to activate this circuit of light and healing, right? Which is the beauty of
Yeah.
conversation and becoming open and vulnerable with another,
Yes.
allows not only us to shift, but it just shifts frequency around us, right? And
Yes.
then not, and people are attracted to that because at the soul level that we long for that light, that wholeness, that connection, that communion.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the toughest things from 2020, wasn't it? Was that
For
some of
sure.
us lost that. A lot of us lost that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
One moment, let me mute myself just 1 second.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us, healing my or me. Oh, sorry if I'm not saying that right, but so glad you joined us.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm like literally just getting over this cold. And I'm like, okay, the voice is going, okay, we might have to begin to wrap it up. Yes, thank you everybody for joining us. This has been fabulous. Um, I want everyone to know exactly where they can find you,
Thank you.
your book, your website, everything.
Thanks, Lisa. Well, there is a myriad of ways that you can join the Adora Winquist Quantum community. You can go to adorawinquist.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. We'll share our events for each week and promotions. Every week, I do a complimentary meditation in conjunction with the Barbara Brennan School of Healing. It's called Seeds of the Spirit. So you can always join us for meditation. My book, Detox Nourish Activate, Plant and Vibrational Medicine for Energy, Mood, and Love, is also available on my website. You can purchase a signed copy there or on Amazon or barnesandnoble.com or with my publisher, aeonbooks.co.uk. And then our Insta feed has a lot of wonderful alchemical tidbits and nuggets of wisdom and brilliant visualizations and all things to empower your freedom, empower your best expression, your highest ultimate reality to unfold.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, go check her out. Um, Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Now, what we're going to do though
Mhm.
is we're going to take this. It's going to become the podcast on Sunday. That's going to air at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. But we're going to have a further conversation about, as soon as that's over, about 8 p.m. or so Central, where you're going to be live with me on my YouTube channel.
Yay! More
Yay!
conversation.
So join me on my YouTube channel. Look for all of that on Sunday night. And from the YouTube channel, that's where we're going to do the raffle right there. So I want you guys to come back. We're going to go a little deeper into all of this and take your questions because we're going to be streaming live. So we'll be able to take your questions. That's going to be at about 7:30, 7:45 on Sunday. Adora, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. We get to
Lisa,
continue it.
I know, such a pleasure. And take care of yourself, love.
I will. I'm going to go get some honey, mixed with some cinnamon and some turmeric.
Perfect.
And a little bit of ginger. And I think then
medicine.
That'll be a really good way to help get rid of this. Adora, I can't thank you enough for joining me tonight. I so appreciate it.
So much my pleasure. Can't wait to see you Sunday.
I know. So excited. I'm so excited. All right, guys. Hey, thank you, everybody. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. Love you guys very much. Have a great evening.
Blessings. Bye.
Bye.